Dr. Tara Swart interviewed by Steven Bartlett. Diary of a CEO. Dr. Tara Swart, a neuroscientist, medical doctor, executive advisor, and best-selling author, is interviewed by Steven Bartlett on his podcast Diary of a CEO. They talk about how to build mental resilience to overcome challenges. Dr. Swart discusses the lack of understanding of the brain-body connection among high-performing executives and emphasizes the importance of basic things like sleep, diet, hydration, and stress management for optimal brain function. She also explains how stress can cause physiological consequences like inflammation and heart attacks. Dr. Swart defines stress as when the load perceived physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually is too much to bear and discusses the contagion of stress. Dr. Sarah Swart discusses the importance of eye contact and physical touch in creating emotional resonance and bonding with others. She mentions the synchronization of menstrual cycles among women who live or work closely together as an example of invisible forces that can impact our bodies. She suggests looking into someone's left eye to trigger a bonding response and using physical touch, such as a handshake or hug, to encourage bonding. Swart briefly touches on the importance of eye contact between a mother and baby in creating emotional bonds. Steven and Sarah discuss behaviors that increase the release of oxytocin, a bonding chemical in the brain, such as eye contact, touch, laughing together, taking a bath, and massage. Shared emotional experiences also release oxytocin. Dr. Swart explains how women who interact physically closely can synchronize their menstrual cycles due to sex steroid hormones leaking out of their sweat. The alpha female in a group tends to lead this synchronization. Dr. Sarah Swart and Steven Bartlett then discusses how cortisol, a stress hormone, can also be contagious in a similar way. The main stress hormone, cortisol, affects both males and females, but its impact depends on where one is in the organizational hierarchy. Leaders' stress levels have a greater impact on others than their own stress levels. Cortisol can cause abdominal fat that is difficult to lose, and it can also lead to sleep disruption, irritability, and mood changes. If someone is aware of their high cortisol levels, they can take steps to manage their stress and reduce its impact on themselves and others. Promoting a highly stressed individual to a higher position in the organization can have a significant impact on those below them. The conversation shifts to how stress can manifest in skin problems and suggests 2 ways to combat it: physical exercise and journaling. The importance of sleep is also emphasized, with the recommendation of getting 8 hours and 15 minutes of sleep to allow for the brain's cleaning process, known as the glymphatic system, to occur. This system flushes out toxins from the brain and takes 7 to 8 hours to complete, making it important to get enough restorative sleep. Dr. Swart then talks about the importance of sleep cycles and the position in which one sleeps. Sleeping on one side is recommended for the brain's cleansing process, and the author mentions using a special pillow for this purpose. She also touches on the history of sleep and co-sleeping, stating that co-sleeping is fundamental to our survival emotionally and spiritually. Dr. Swart also discusses the release of oxytocin during close proximity and how it can affect bonding. Dr. Swart has conducted experiments using HRV monitors to measure resilience during sleep. She encourages people to sleep together and cuddle as it is neuroprotective and helps with loneliness and disconnection. Dr. Swart then talks about the concept of resilience, both physical and psychological, and how it can be measured through heart rate variability. She then mentions intuition and how women may be more open to accepting it as a concept compared to men who may need scientific explanations. Intuition is a powerful decision-making tool that is often overlooked. It is the result of patterns and lessons learned throughout life that are stored in the nervous system, including the gut neurons. This is why intuition is sometimes referred to as gut instinct. Brain and body are intimately connected, and understanding this connection can help individuals tap into their intuition and even predict illness. Suppressing illness can lead to a weakened immune system, making individuals more susceptible to getting sick. Bartlett and Swart then shift to talk about the prolonged effects of the pandemic on mental health and the need for acknowledging and addressing them. Swart highlights the importance of challenging groupthink and questioning unusual symptoms, such as a cold lasting for more than a week. The looming crisis refers to the long-term consequences of the pandemic on individuals, including health anxiety, isolation, and loss. She suggests that a spiritual revolution may be necessary to address these issues and emphasizes the importance of nature and having a purpose that transcends oneself for mental health. Volunteering and serving others is mentioned by Dr. Swart, which can be as simple as helping an elderly neighbor or checking on a friend. The concept of feeling valuable to a tribe is explored, as well as the importance of incorporating creative activities and appreciating beauty in daily life for mental and physical health. The connection between safety and appreciation of nature and aesthetics is also discussed, with the idea that repeating these experiences can signal safety to the brain. According to Dr. Swart, the solutions to our spiritual crisis and potential revolution have always existed in the world, including in nature and in traditional rituals and ceremonies. However, modern society has created barriers to accessing these solutions, such as loneliness, reliance on technology, and distorted views of intimacy and relationships. Swart suggests that individuals can start by spending more time in nature, cultivating positive relationships, limiting screen time, and being mindful of who they surround themselves with. She also touches on the impact of pornography on the brain and social contagion in our social groups. Next, Sarah highlights the importance of surrounding oneself with people who are open to spirituality and personal growth. She explains the concept of neuroplasticity, which refers to the brain's ability to change and adapt throughout life. She notes that while it was once believed that the brain stopped growing after a certain age, we now know that it can continue to change until around age 25 and beyond if one actively works to stimulate it. Activities such as learning a new language or instrument, traveling, and reading can help induce neuroplasticity and improve executive functions such as emotional regulation and problem solving. People often seek neuroplasticity to develop new habits or ways of thinking. The discussion then shifts to the process of changing habits and behaviors that are not useful in someone's life. According to Dr. Swart, the first step is to become aware of the pattern, followed by focused attention on where and when the behavior occurs. The next step is deliberate practice, where the person actively seeks out scenarios to practice the new behavior. She provides an example of someone who repeatedly dates people who are married or in a relationship and how to address this behavior through self-reflection and deliberate practice. She explains the 3 steps to changing behavior patterns: becoming aware of the pattern, recognizing the consequences, and setting intentions and practicing. Accountability is also important in this process. Bartlett and Dr. Swart continue to talk about the concept of neuroplasticity. One way this happens is through myelination, where a fatty substance coats neural pathways and makes them faster. Another way, according to Dr. Swart, is through synaptic connections, where existing neurons connect with each other to form new pathways. The third mechanism is neurogenesis, which involves the creation of new nerve cells in the brain. Aerobic exercise and eating dark-skinned foods can contribute to neurogenesis by increasing the growth factor BDNF. Dr. Swart also mentions an experiment where weightlifters who only visualized lifting weights had a 13% increase in muscle mass compared to those who did not lift weights or nor visualized lifting them. Continuing on the theme of visualization, Dr. Swart mentions the use of visualization in athlete training and the importance of positive thinking in achieving goals. She mentions the benefits of eating darker, more antioxidant-rich foods for neurogenesis. The process of neuroplasticity involves understanding and changing patterns in the brain through repetition and creating conditions for the brain to function optimally, such as getting enough sleep, being physically active, managing stress, and staying hydrated. Intermittent fasting can also have brain health benefits if the foundations are already in place. To build self-esteem and confidence, it is helpful to identify negative recurring thoughts and create positive affirmations to counteract them. Taking on big cognitive challenges can also establish new pathways in the brain, according to Dr. Swart. The conversation then shifts to the importance of language and self-talk in shaping one's thoughts and beliefs. Dr. Sarah Swart explains that repeating positive statements to oneself can trick the brain into believing them, but it is important to focus on meaningful and realistic statements rather than shallow ones. The concept of manifestation is also discussed. with Dr. Swart believing in it based on cognitive science and the idea that changing one's thoughts and actions can lead to attracting what one wants in life. However, she emphasizes that manifestation requires action and effort, not just positive thinking.